That's professional stuff right there. That's what they call a bed in the podcasting business, I believe.
What's it called?
A bed?
Do we got to pay for the rights to that or what?
I hope I kept it under 15 seconds. We already made this joke. We made this joke the last time we got together and talked.
Oh, is that what it is? It's 15 seconds?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
We've covered this.
Last time we did this, I got hammered.
For anybody who saw the first time, Scott Johnson and I, James Spencer, chatted. We just got together and had a good time and talked about PT, but I think we started off with the same exact joke. So we're off to a rip-roaring start here. But we thought we'd do this again in much shorter formats than we did the first time. First time around, we talked for like 2.5 hours, and then I spent weeks whittling it down to something like 40 minutes. But we thought it was pretty funny, so we thought we'd do it again and maybe actually come in with some topics to talk about. And today we thought we would talk about the future of the physical therapy profession, and I'll be interested in seeing what we think about it.
Oh man, where do I start? I was actually thinking about this today. I've actually been thinking about this kind of for a while, but a colleague that I respect always says, I think his saying is always like, as little as possible, as much as necessary, with manual therapy, and I agree with that. And then move on and just like be fitness forward.
What do you think? What things in particular do you think we need to do? Because really, it's about being, to use a catchphrase used in physical therapy, to be the practitioner of choice. Like when someone has back pain, what do we have to do to be the people that they think of first?
I think we need to find communities, and I understand like getting like being paid what you're. Let me back up a little bit. I think there's too many people wanting to get paid for every second of what they do. I spend a lot of time in CrossFit gyms and just like doing very free stuff and stuff that I would do in a PT clinic. And all I'm doing is building trust with those people. And then all of a sudden I do a little bit of a seminar, and then like on Saturdays at my gym, I open the gym and I coach there from like 9:30 to 11 and do like an open gym. But before that, I'm starting to do like a prehab class. But I think we need to stop being only for injured people. Why can't I think we need to do a better job of learning how to do, just a basic linear strength programming. Like we need to learn more about programming. And I think CSCS would do that. You can read on the internet about that stuff, but I think that's the way that we need to go and start building more relationships with people in we got to stop relying on doctors. We have to start doing it. Everybody's talking about it, but very few people are doing it. I do say that the newer grads are doing a better job at it than the older PTs. What are we? Are we like, I guess we're like in the middle. We're like,
yeah, I think they'd call us middle career. But if I look at like where I am, I've almost practiced 15 years and I've probably got another 30 to go. So,
yeah,
early middle career.
Yeah. I had a girl at a gym I was at in Phoenix, and she was asking me about like injury prevention and stuff like that. And I was like, well, why don't you just go to PT school? She's like, well, why would I go to PT school and accrue all that debt when I can do the exact same thing that you're doing in PT?
Mm-hmm. It's like those people running around that are body workers, right? What does a body worker mean? It means you touch people and you don't have a professional license of any kind. But there's a lot that comes with not having a license. There's a lot of responsibilities that I think that you shed, that you don't exist. But the other day, at the same time, there's also a value that comes with that name of physical therapist. There was this younger guy who came into the clinic the other day, and he had gone out for a hike and his knee was killing him. And it was textbook IT band syndrome. But he had gone to his primary care basically just with the intention of saying, hey, refer me to physical therapy. Because he expressed to me that he had seen physical therapists in the past, and he thought that they just had a better eye on what he needed for his recovery from his injuries than anybody else he had ever seen. It was where he wanted to start. And what he didn't realize was we see direct access for his insurance all the time. So he could have just come straight to us. He didn't have to go to his primary care. But I love that guy was thinking, he's like, I've hurt myself, physical therapy. I think something might be torn, physical therapy. Like, how do we get more people thinking that?
Well, just that thing. Like, why did that guy? That's a big spider.
Everybody's got to see this. I saw the spot behind me on the video.
Is that a tarantula?
It's good. Yeah.
Got some diamonds up back there.
I hope it doesn't jump, but that would make for good content.
Yeah. It's like a dirty word in healthcare, right? You're not supposed to be in sales. But why should I not be selling my services when a personal trainer is going to do the same thing? Like, why can't I do that? And if the person sees the value in seeing a PT because they think that they won't get injured, like, why wouldn't, like, they should.
Yeah.
But we don't.
Although in some ways is that, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here and thinking on the go, but by the advantage of being an integral part of the health system, of being in the health system, do we then have to make a sacrifice, or is it harder in the open market like that? Like, have we gained strengths in one area that make it harder in another area?
I'm not following you. Like, what do you?
So have we're a valued member of the health professions, right? Like,
are we?
Insurances pay for our services.
Are we?
I think physicians who are going to refer to somebody mostly refer to physical therapists.
But what's the percentage of low back pain?
What is it? 20% get to see a therapist, something like that?
I thought it was like 8%. I thought it's 8% get referred.
Maybe.
Get referred.
Yeah. Maybe the number is 20% that get to see a physical therapist or a chiropractor. Anyways, hang with me for a second. But
yes.
But that we're part of that health system, not a health system, but the larger health system, that we are a healthcare professional, does that make it harder for us to transition into more casual care, the capitalistic market?
See, and for me, I think that makes it I think it makes it easier. Like, okay, we can work on getting you into, like, in shape. We can work on your fitness goals. We can make it so you don't, and this is like, most of my friends do CrossFit, but CrossFit gets such a bad name. Oh, you're going to hurt your shoulder. Who cares? 50% of the population is going to be obese in 2030. Like, we really need to get our priorities straight. And it's not mechanical shoulder pain or mechanical low back pain. Like, we need to be making sure these people aren't getting sicker than they already are. And I think that we do have an integral part of that. But if we go work in some areas of, like, health and wellness, I think that gives us a better opportunity with our background. Okay, we know that we know how to scale exercises to your capacity or wherever you're at. And if you do get banged up, we know how to take care of you and do some manual therapy, or do some like pain prevention, or like pain reduction things. So I think if we market it that way, we are able to be the provider of choice. We should be the provider of choice for anybody that's looking to get into health and wellness. That's my opinion. And I think that that's where the profession should be going.
Let me do a little break here, like we're some sort of official show.
We got sponsors now?
And then I'll bring us back. Yeah. I got a plan. Welcome back. Our sponsor, the Grog Shop in Aspen, Colorado. Just kidding. They're not our sponsor,
They
but
should be.
we can be bought.
We spent
We're
so much money there.
we're open to being bought. We will sell out.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Grog Shop. We're looking at
We're,
you.
we're loosely calling this segment Two Competent PTs. We don't claim to be anything more, but I'll speak for myself. I think of myself as competent.
I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Okay. So we started out talking about with the intention of talking about the future of PT, and I think we went down a good path of marketing ourselves and becoming the practitioners of choice to anybody with a musculoskeletal injury.
Or not an injury.
Or not an injury. Ooh, somebody was listening. But but right now I think we are in a time of great distress, right? COVID-19. We've seen shops close, and some have reopened, some are reopening. The disease is coming back, stuff's going to close again. We're in a time with a lot of distress, which also leads to a lot of change and possibly opportunity. And I've been trying to think what our profession needs to learn from this time or grab from this time that can change our profession for the better going forward. I think I've heard people say two different things. I've heard people say that during this time, a lot of physical therapists were fired, which shows that we're not essential, that we are not essential enough, and we have to do things to make ourselves more essential, that we can't be shed by the system. In my experience here in Colorado, and I believe also nationally by the Department of Health and Human Services, physical therapists have been labeled as an essential worker, right? Like I continued to work on all these people who had just broken their leg or just had surgery or just had something when COVID hit this area. So when everything else shut down, I was still seeing a few people a day. So I guess there's this dichotomy in what people think, how they think we've been perceived during this time. I would say we've been perceived as essential and very favorably. Others would say, no, I lost my job. Not so much, James.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go.
But this is like a prove your value thing. This is like exactly the thing that we need to be doing more of. The home health setting, I picked up through the roof. You know why? Because we're trying to, and we would see patients that have COVID, obviously post-COVID, and our job is to keep them from going back to the hospital. We should be the ones that are keeping these people from going back to the hospital. And if we improve their lung function and we improve their musculoskeletal strength and endurance, that improves their immune system. Like, we have to think outside of the box, that we're just like, oh, we're just doing exercises with people. We have to actually explain to people why we are of value. I had this conversation with my friends in Phoenix, and they're like, well, how is physical therapy helping these people? And I'm like, what do you mean? You guys are pissing and moaning about the hospitals being full, and we're keeping people out of the hospital. Like, we are essential. But if you want to get butthurt about getting fired, maybe you and your company should start thinking outside of the box and thinking of ways to keep people from being in that hospital system or of being of value. And I think it comes down a little bit to that dirty little word, sales. You have to do a better job of selling our services.
Yeah. I think, I think you're onto something, and I think it's kind of been my experience being in, I mean, you've worked here in Aspen with me before. That's how we know each other. And there's something, this community for some reason values physical therapists. There's a history here, a very kind history between the orthopedists and the physical therapists, and the orthopedists respecting what we do on the rehab side of things after or before they've done what they do. But for some reason in the outpatient hospital job, that's my primary gig, we were kept on. We kept working, and we were the first back to work too, even though we never left work. Our volumes went crazy. I mean, we're just so busy right now in this acute recovery afterwards. But on top of that, over on the concierge PT side that I have as the side hustle, seeing patients there too. People are calling more frequently than they usually do because people don't want to come into the clinic. They don't want to be in the hospital. They want someone to come to them. They want to stay out of public. They think it's safer, and I do too. But there's a lot of opportunities out there right now.
And this is not just PT, but like businesses in general, right? What's the number one thing Dave Ramsey tells you to do? If personal finance, right? Have 6 months of a cushion. Why are these places all of a sudden not have 6 months of cushion? Part of the reason, if you're a brand new clinic, that makes sense, or you're just like getting started and getting going. But how is this clinic, a clinic I used to work here in Colorado Springs, they're talking about going under. The reason they're going under is because they're trying to get their nut as quick as possible. They're trying to make as much money and grow as quick as possible. And look what happened. They out-leveraged themselves, and now they don't have any money. And they're not the only people that are doing that. You get hot and you think that you're hot, and you try to, and I understand you got to strike while the iron's hot sometimes. You got to make hay when the sun's shining. But you also can't be stupid, and you have to have like some sort of business acumen that says, hey, if I didn't get a referral again, or somebody didn't come into this clinic again for the next month, would I survive?
Conclusion.
I think
it's called a bed.
Is that really what it's called?
Yeah. You ever a music bed? When
the bed of roses.
I think it's more supposed to be like this, where you talk over it, and it's something that's going on in the background of the blank space. Like they do in radio, like that.
I never got into A Day to Remember.
I've gotten into them recently. You know what I got into this week? I like A Day to Remember now. They've actually become like a band for me in the last couple months. But Parkview Drive. Oh, yeah. I texted you.
Yeah. Listen to some Glassjaw on Saturday. It was great.
Excellent.
On that note.
So, there's one thing I've been dying to mention here that I just think is pertinent. Like you said the word post-COVID. Mm-hmm. And there's all these resources out there, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say the American Physical Therapy Association has just produced a ton of resources for the management of COVID and post-COVID patients. And it's all for free right now on the APTA Learning Center, and people got to go check that out if you have any questions on what to do with these people. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, Scott.
Nice plug. Nice plug. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
That's something next time we talk, I want to chat about. I think that's a good topic. Talk about APTA, and I just see. Yeah. I'm doing my best to not I chime in when I need to, and what I am very knowledgeable on, but which is not a lot. Just it's what I'm competent in. I'm sorry. Let's just say that. What I'm competent in. But I just see a lot of shitting on the APTA in a lot of Facebook chat rooms and stuff. And maybe we can talk about our experience with the APTA, and we've both been APTA members, or we both are APTA members. We both have been. Are you on the board?
I'm on the board of the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy, so the orthopedic component of APTA.
Okay, and I was on the board for state of Montana.
Right.
Right. So I think maybe we talk about our experiences and why it's of value.
Yeah. Nothing that our profession is or has become happened by accident. It's all been done through hard fought battles.
Yeah.
And the more people, even dissenting voices, that are a part of those battles, the better. That's a good topic, Scott. I like it. With that, let's say good night to the good person and or people who are out there watching this.
Probably just a person. All right.
Well, back.